Hello everybody and welcome to Mortal Kombat 2. So, here's the story. So, 500 years ago, Shang Tsung was banished to the Earthrealm. With the aid of Goro, he was to unbalance the Furies and doom the planet to a chaotic existence like we learned in the first game. However, as he's in control of the tournament, he tried to tip his cousin in order towards chaos. Only 7 warriors survived the battles, and Shang Tsung was beaten by Liu Kang, basically. Facing execution for his failure and the apparent death of Goro, Tsung convinces Shao Kahn to grant him a second chance, which is kind of out of character for Shao Kahn. Shang Tsung's new plan is to lure his enemies to compete in the Outworld, where they will meet certain death by Shao Kahn himself. And now the combat continues. Exactly.
They're also not joking because Shao Kahn is a fucking beast.
I thought his name was pronounced Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought the T is silent.
No, it's Shang Tsung. I think it's Chinese name, is it too?
I don't know.
After winning the Shaolin tournament from Shang Tsung's clutches, Kang returns to his temples. He discovers his sacred home in ruins, his Shaolin brothers killed in a vicious battle with a horde of Outworld warriors. Now he travels into the Dark Realm to seek revenge. So yeah.
Well, that happened.
Well, remember, Jova, this was back in the day where cutscenes weren't exactly standard in video games. So you have to understand that.
Seriously, though, damn.
After Shang Tsung's tournament, the martial arts superstar disappears. He follows Liu Kang into the Outworld. There, he will compete in a twisted tournament which holds the balance of Earth's existence, as well as a script for another blockbuster movie, of course. Here's the winning streaks. Once again, CRL is in first place, just like in the first game. We don't know who this CRL guy is, but...
sounds cool.
10 wins in a row.
Cool, Roddy.
Get your Mortal Kombat 2 Collector's Edition comic book. Also, your compact disc.
Compact disc.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, compact disc. That'll never go out of style.
Okay, $12.45 for a game soundtrack on CD at the time was not that much, actually. I've seen CD cost much more.
God damn it, I'm 25 years too late.
Damn it, Lives.
By the way, this game uses the DCS sound system, whatever that is.
It was probably something,
Baraka. He led the attack against Liu Kang's Shaolin Temple. Baraka belongs to a nomadic race of mutants living in the wastelands of the Outworld. His fighting skills gained the attention of Shao Kahn, who recruited him into his army. Exactly. Kitana. Her beauty hides her true role as personal assassin for Shao Kahn. Seen talking to an Earthrealm warrior, her motives have come under suspicion by her twin sister Mileena, but only Kitana knows her own true intentions.
The good old days when Mileena was just...
Speaking of Mileena, serving as an assassin along with her twin sister Kitana, Mileena's dazzling appearance conceals her hidden intentions. At Shao Kahn's request, she is asked to watch for her twin's suspected dissension. She must put a stop to it at any cost. If you've seen her Shang Tsung. After losing control of the Shaolin tournament, Tsung promises his ruler Shao Kahn to shape events that will lure the Earth Warriors to compete in his own contest. Convinced of this plan, Shao Kahn restores Tsung's youth and allows him to live, which is why he looks like this now.
That looks like Jax.
Raiden.
I'm sorry.
Watching events unfold from high above, the Thunder God realizes the grim intentions of Shao Kahn. After warning of the remaining members of the Shaolin tournament, Raiden soon disappears. He is believed to have ventured into the Outworld alone. Again, remember, the ending of Raiden in the first game is retconned. Sub-Zero. Thought to have been killed in the Shaolin tournament, Sub-Zero mysteriously returns. It is believed he traveled into the Outworld to again attempt to assassinate Shang Tsung. To do so, he must fight his way through Shao Kahn's tournament. We'll see exactly how he has mysteriously returned. Reptile. As Shang Tsung's personal protector, the elusive Reptile lurks in the shadows, stopping all those who will do master harm. His human form is believed to disguise a horrid reptilian creature whose race was thought extinct millions of years ago. And of course, Scorpion, the hell-spawned specter, rises from the pits. After learning of Sub-Zero's return, he again stalks in a ninja assassin, following him into the dark realm of the Outworld, where he continues his own unholy mission. So yeah, once again, Scorpion is after Sub-Zero. Jax. His real name is Major Jackson Briggs, leader of a top U.S. Special Forces unit after receiving a distress signal from Lieutenant Sonya Blade. Jax embarks on a rescue mission, one that leads him into a ghastly world where he believes that Sonya is still alive. So Jax is here to try to save Sonya. Kung Lao, a former Shaolin monk and member of the White Lotus Society. He is the last descendant of the great living Kung Lao, who was defeated by Goro 500 years ago. Realizing the danger of the Outworld menace, he joins Liu Kang in entering Shao Kahn's contest.
You know, I just gotta say, I love how the bios actually mentioned Mileena's true appearance as dazzling. Oh yeah, it'll dazzle your head off. Literally.
That's a
Pedro, do you need water?
No, I'm fine, thank you. I am called Smoke. So yeah, just like in the first game, we have hints from this hidden fighter. Who could he be?
I wonder.
But yeah, once again, canon-wise, it's once again Liu Kang that wins the second tournament, so we're gonna play as him.
But yeah, we were not joking about Shao Kahn. Like, again, he's a real beast.
That being said, Teo, you have to wonder, considering it's kind of out of character for him to give not one, but two, not a second, but even a third chance to Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 3. So yeah,
Really?
I will meet you in Goro's lair.
Actually.
Shao Kahn is surprisingly forgiving, I have to say.
I get the idea, but we're kind of running out of ideas on how to include keep including Shang Tsung in the roster. So we're like, oh sure, he just backed Dr. Wily style, and Shao Kahn forgave him.
I guess to be fair, from what we've learned, doesn't Shang Tsung technically has had like, you know, a successful streak of like over decades.
True, but Shao Kahn is not stupid, and he knows that Shang Tsung has a chronic backstabbing disorder on its own, combined with Pedro. He's basically Starscream when you get down to it, Java. So Shang Tsung, normally Shang Tsung is not like Megatron. He's not super willing to forgive.
Well, it's not so much that. I think it's also similar to Megatron in some other iterations where he keeps around Shang Tsung, not just because, you know, he gets results, but because he's probably the most effective second in command he can garner here and there. And he knows that the minute he tries to step out of line or tries to steal power for himself, he'll be able to pretty much snuff him out.
Oh my god, you know, for a second I thought you meant Shang Tsung was part of the Decepticons. I'm like, man, those Transformers would be a hell of a lot weird if that were the case.
That's
Oh, look at that. Kato's changing the background. How cute.
That's Transformers have had official crossovers with Marvel, MLB,
Mars Attack.
Yes, also
Joe.
Anyway, let me actually get back into this.
Recently, My Little Pony. Mikey and Flynn.
I already mentioned MLP. But
That's
yeah.
nice. Okay, so unlike more, unfortunately, one particular and yes, while this is the fan favorite of the classic series, I actually strongly disagree. Don't get me wrong, the game looks fantastic, and once again, Dan Forden delivers a fantastic soundtrack, so that's not the issue. And even then, the new moves and the overall stuff that they come up with is fine. Like, and even the balance itself is fine. It's the problem with this game that ruins it for me is the AI. Why? Well, the AI in this game, how do I put it?
It's designed to murder the shit out of you and make you feel horrible for it.
It's because I'm not even kidding. The AI in this game goes overboard by literally having the characters react to literally everything you do. The characters controlled by the game always react immediately to whatever you're about to do, and with the best possible way to stop you. And as a result, this game, to give you guys an idea, like the arcade collection on the PS3 and 360, there's a trophy for just completing the games. Now, you don't even have to do anything specific; you just have to complete them and all. I wasn't even able to get that trophy for 2, just because even with infinite credits, it gets to a point where the AI is so cheap that I just can't beat it, no matter how many times I try. Why? Because the AI is cheap as all fuck. Fortunately, they did fix this in free. Because Mortal Kombat... Yes, Deji?
Well, Pedro, I guess you just need to get good.
No, Deji, this is going to be...
At least back in the day, Dej, for the arcade version, yes, you needed to.
Here's the thing, Deji, it's not a matter of getting good. In a Souls game, the characters don't immediately react to whatever it is I'm about to do exactly specifically, like they know, like they're reading my mind. This game, on the other hand, feels like it's reading my mind. Every single time I try something, every single time I try some kind of move, the game knows always exactly when to duck, when to duck, when to jump, when to block, when to do whatever move will counter the thing best. It gets to a point where
it's like quitter talk.
Now you're probably thinking, well, maybe it's like in the first game where you just have to mix up your moves. You can't just do the same move over and over. Well, yeah, normally that would be the case, but even if you tried that, it doesn't work. Even still, the game still continues to just read everything. Like normally when they do in this game, they do that kind of thing where the AI adapts to your moves, and so you have to force the player to mix up his moves. Problem is, no matter what I try, I can't seem to get the AI of this game to actually, behave normally. Like, this is one of the things is, okay, I get it. See, when you're playing a fighting game against a human being, that other player is not going to know what you're gonna do unless, I don't know, he spies on your buttons or something right next beside you.
Or if that player is very good at reading.
That even so, Jova, they wouldn't be able to react to every single one of my moves 100% of the time. You know?
Remember, Jova, the trope, the computer is a cheating fucking bastard. Is there for a reason. AIs can react on a millisecond, towards inputs, and they just need to be, programmed to be that way.
See, the problem is
a matter of deciding from developer, like in this case.
I mean, I will grant that I'm not exactly a fighting game expert, aficionado. So, but even then, I've played a good amount of them back when I was a kid. So it's not like I'm a newbie to the genre or anything. But I will say this. A good AI in a fighting game tries its best to mimic what it's like to play against an actual person, so that you always feel like at the very least you have some kind of a fair chance. There's no way an actual human being, no matter how good he is, would be able to play the exact same way the harder opponents in this game play.
Wait, so can I explain why they did this?
Because arcade game design, we know why they did it. It's just that 1 and 3 weren't this extreme.
I mean,
again, the idea, that's probably answers your question, Pedro. But feedback basically made Midway and the team of Ed Boon and John Tobias to tone it down for free.
Well, technically, John Tobias only did the art too. Ed was the one designing this, so it's all on Ed.
The dev team, sure. But whatever, the dev team, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I definitely do see what Pedro means. So, like, seriously, I noticed though, I think the way the system works is like, basically, the AI automatically calculates a move as soon as it sees you trigger a certain move. Say you go for, a typical high kick, of course they'll prepare, the counter for that move or whatnot here and there. And then we'll proceed to combo your ass.
This is called frame reading. Essentially, an opponent or an AI has to understand the precise timing upon which to execute a move where the other character is in a position, because each animation of the character consists of certain types of frames. Maybe sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 10, and so on and so forth. So an AI that wants to counter it, will wait the precise moment of the frame of animation and execute the ideal move. Then
spamming sonic booms like there's no tomorrow.
Yep,
that's the thing. Yeah, again, and don't get me wrong, I understand that a lot of people like this because in their mind it makes it challenging, but to me, challenge always involves a certain amount of fairness. And to me, having the AI literally react in a millisecond, like Jova said, the moment I finish inputting my combo, doesn't feel fair, because there's no way a human being would be able to react that fast, no matter how good he is.
So let me ask a question to all of you guys.
Sure.
Which do you think is worse, this difficulty or SNK difficulty?
SNK is on a different level. SNK worked on the idea that you should not beat their game in one go at all. This is a matter of just beating the quarters. SNK applied that to a constant level, so take your pick. But the idea of, to quote again, the trope of SNK boss tends to get applied even in other fighting games like this one, for example. Shao Kahn is a prime example of SNK type of boss. So it's not too different, but it's just on a whole different level when it comes to SNK.
Putting the AI
It's a bit of a tough call in this regard. Like, well, for instance, this will be consistently BS, but with SNK has something of like a sliding scale of degrees of BS difficulty. Like, it can be,
and by the way, for the record,
or completely BS.
For the record, guys, I'm playing because remember, like, if you own the arcade and you know how to activate the test mode, you can change the settings on the game. You can also do it in the arcade collection that was released in 2011. For the record, guys, I'm playing on what the game calls very easy, the easiest mode. Now imagine if I was playing on the hardest mode, how it would be. You see what I mean?
Kind of tempted to see that since you're,
It's
using the no help.
It's abundantly clear that Midway told the developers, okay, make this thing as hard as possible to make sure we get as much money out of this as possible.
Kids will eat this shit up for breakfast anyway, so why not?
So out of vest.
Nothing, just us discussing why the AI is bullshit. But
Oh boy, the great battle between clones.
the AI, okay, the AI
Clone
aside,
Wars.
the
No,
AI,
Attack of the Clones.
okay,
MK the Clone Saga, go on.
the AI aside, everything in Mortal Kombat 2 is a huge improvement over the first one. The graphics look great, the music is even better. There's a higher variety of levels. The fatalities are better. There's more finishing moves aside from just the fatalities. For one record, we'll see them later. So yeah, that bullshit AI aside, everything in this game is a huge improvement over the first game. So there is that.
Wait, restrict yourself?
It's a hint to how to unlock an encounter with Jade.
They're just like in the first game, there's hidden characters, and I activated a cheat on the emulator to always give me hints so we can just see all of them. Because the cheats, just like in the first game, are random. Some like and the chance of the hints showing up is not even that high. So for the sake of showing off the hints, I activate. Fortunately, the emulator has a cheat that allows me to just have the hints appear all the time. So.
Wow, you literally drained his health to
Yeah,
death.
that's because, Jova, once again, that's because, once again, as you progress through the ladder, the enemies get harder and harder, and becomes even harder and harder to counter them, or to just even land a freaking hit. I'm not even kidding you. Like I've said, if you go back and I finished MK1 in the arcade collection. I finished MK3 or Ultimate MK3 in the arcade collection. I couldn't for the life of me beat MK2 even with infinite credits. Even giving myself the ability to infinitely continue. It got to a point where the AI was just so cheap that I just gave up because fuck this crap. Like, it's just one of those cases where, again, this is the kind of thing that, of course, was clearly designed to drop our quarters. But when you're playing it now on an emulator, even officially, it just comes across as, okay, when you play something like a more modern fighting game like Killer Instinct or Dragon Ball FighterZ, there is not this level of unfairness when it comes to the AI. Just because, of course, fighting games have evolved a lot since this period, of course. And as a result, this game really, really ages badly.
Remember, Dweebs, Street Fighter 2 was big at the arcade, so Midway wanted to take the piece out of Capcom.
It really is a shame that
better game between the two.
it really is a shame. Well, I would say Street Fighter personally, just because of
Street Fighter is more elaborate as a fighting game. This one goes more for the spectacle.
yeah.
Street Fighter actually has memorable music.
Not just. I like Dan Fortin's music, but whatever.
Name one song besides that.
Which was done for the movie anyway.
Well, how about the main theme of this one? Dun, dun, da, da, da. Anyway, what was?
Wait, actually, since we were talking about the Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat stuff, how about that Street Fighter 2, the movie video game that tried to copy Mortal Kombat stuff?
Yeah. That was terrible. Yeah, Jova, you know Street Fighter the movie? That at a time video game which used digitized actors.
It really is a shame that an otherwise absolutely fantastic game in every other aspect has to have this AI that single-handedly sours the overall gameplay experience.
Tell me about that. I mean, there's one thing I find ultimately frustrating. It's when something that otherwise is good has one or two things that manages to, well, kind of, okay, not outright ruin it in this case, because, chances are you may be playing with another friend, so, there's that. Something that really just dragged down the experience.
Yeah, because everything about this game otherwise is actually really stellar. This is where Ed Boon and John Tobias officially started creating the Mortal Kombat Bible, where they were, okay, now let's actually plan ahead, let's actually give these characters a proper consistent thing that will not be retconned in the next game. You know.
I think I can see why this game is definitely the fan favorite despite the AI problems. So it's like, well, all the other stuff that is so good about it is still enjoyable.
I personally prefer Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 because not only does it take things even further, the AI is better, of course, and I just really love the amount of variety that Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 has when it comes to its to its character roster and its stages, especially if you play Avalanche's enhanced port, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which is basically the Armageddon of its time.
So, guys, how do you think they're going to handle the adaptation of this game, considering how the first movie adaptation was a big hit?
If they confirm that the new live-action movie is yet another adaptation of the first game,
think he's talking about the end.
I'm talking about the animated one.
Yeah.
Oh, the animated one.
We shall see, Joe, but considering how it takes already some liberties by showing Quan Chi early, killing some of the characters early, having, Scorpion winning and not, Liu Kang against Goro. We might see events unfolding in a different direction. Remember, Jova, by the time of 11, it's established that all the different takes, including stuff like the live-action movie, are basically part of a small multiverse that eventually converges with the events of 11.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the go-to answer for a lot of companies these days.
Hold on.
Johnny, who are you fighting against?
Not just that, yeah, I have to point that out. Notice that character right there in the background. That character is was nicknamed Blaze by the fans back in the day. You're probably wondering, why am I pointing this out specifically? Let's just say we'll be seeing that guy again. And that's all I need, and that's all I'll say for now. That's for a later time. Let's just say, Ed
You're blazing with excitement.
One thing Ed Boon does that no other creator does is let's just say that he loves playing with fan theories, and sometimes even going out of his way to give those fan theories an actual payoff in the games themselves.
Ed is a notorious troll, so most of the time he just puts seeds that actually go nowhere just to see the fans actually, lose their minds trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Just look at Melina. People kept asking for her since Mortal Kombat 11.
Look at it.
Where is she? Where is she?
Well, look at it this way, Teo. If he canonized every single fan theory, he would just become predictable as a result.
No. I actually like that, considering, it's the... Oh, yeah, there you go.
The ninjas have a move that allows them to turn invisible. All of them.
Well, more specifically, right? Reptile is the one that kept it basically most of the time.
True, Teo, but in the classic series?
No, I'm talking about for futures,
Sure.
I know that they just balanced it out. They were just experimenting with it here. But for the future, they essentially allowed it for Reptile to keep for the sake of because he's reptilian, so he has like a chameleon thing that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, let's talk about portings of this. For example, the Sega Genesis version. The Sega Genesis version.
Oh, no worry, Teo. I'll address that myself later anyway. So.
Sure. All right. I'll just pass then.
One day we will fight. All right. So, this particular place is actually where you can fight a certain hidden character. If I remember correctly, I'm about to do it right now, because this is actually because triggering the hard battle, the hidden battles, just like in the first game. Okay, to be fair, it's not as hard as doing it with Reptile, because the requirements are not as ridiculously specific and balls to the wall hard to pull off. It's a bit more forgiving, but not by much. Basically, you have to defeat you have to if I remember correctly, the requirement is actually I forgot after it's been a while since I recorded this.
Me neither.
It's okay, take your time. You can look it up.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It involves something along those lines. Bar anything that I forgot, it involves a double flawless victory, because of course.
Usually it's like that. Flawless victory and execute the fatality at the end.
Mm-hmm. And you also have
Sorry, go on.
Well, hold on, actually, I think I'm about to do it. There you go. Oh, never mind, this was still round one. Never mind. I got ahead of myself. Go ahead, too. Yeah.
No, and at least for the first one, remember, you also needed to never block, so you needed to perfect that shit.
Yeah, well, I think you can block on this, if I remember correctly. You couldn't block in the first game to get to Reptile, but if I remember correctly, you can at the very least block in this one. What I do remember from this one is that you can only you have to beat Johnny Cage here without kicking. If I remember correctly, that's the one. It's either this one or it's either Jade or Smoke, one of the two. Yeah, that's exactly it. These games have insanely specific requirements that you would never be able to realize on your own unless you play these games 24/7 for years, basically.
So basically, the FGC.
Huh? All right.
The fighting game community.
If I remember correctly, do I actually do it later? I don't even remember.
There we go.
Oh no, never mind. It's now. It's before. Yeah, one of the requirements, like Jade said earlier, Ermac who? I wonder who he means. Anyway.
But yeah, there are actually 3, challenges that you can get in this game. I will not mention them specifically, by name. But for example, for one, you have to press down and start when Dan Corden pops,
That's it.
It has to be done through the portal stage that Pedro was doing. For the second one, you have to accumulate a grand total of 50 wins in a row, but 25 on the Genesis Mega Drive, ported in 2-player mode. So basically, beat the shit out of your friends, kids. As for the third one, first one, you have to fight in the single-player tournament and fight all the way to the match before the question mark slot. In that match, the player must win the battle using solely the low kick button and cannot use any other button, including blocking.
Player 1, get ready. Speaking of that,
who is this?
Congratulations! You have found the passage from the Outworld to the Earthrealm.
Hey.
And now you must battle with an undiscovered warrior from Mortal Kombat 1. Prepare yourself to return to Goro's lair. Yeah, the final level of the first game. So there you go.
It's Jade!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically... Already here.
It's because of the cheats.
I mean, is it really a surprise with Jade, considering she's been there?
Yeah, like the game just said. Yes, Jade is a deleted fighter from the first game that finally got properly introduced in this one.
Here she works as a palette swap of Kitana. Later games will give her a more proper moveset with a staff and shurikens. So there's that.
It's what is interesting to me is that in Mortal Kombat 3, Smoke kept his status as a Scorpion clone.
Weird.
But anyway, yeah. You're probably wondering who was that Ermac thing that Smoke was talking about. Well, here's the thing that I don't think we brought this up in our Mortal Kombat 1 video, but basically, occasionally there will be this weird crashing error that could happen in Mortal Kombat 1. And it's basically, the technical term was error macro. However, the game didn't display the full 2 words. Instead, it displayed Ermac as an error macro. And fans started speculating if that was a hidden fighter that they could discover, just like Reptile. And by the time we got to Mortal Kombat 2, as you can see, Ed Boon and John Tobias were aware of this, and they even have Smoke tease that. Ermac who? So keep that in mind.
Own character, though.
Exactly. So there you go, everybody. That's Ed Boon for you, the only developer who would literally take a mistaken.
Canonize Misigno.
Yes. Yes.
Boy, so we've got Mortal Kombat 6 from the looks of it on there, or does that represent something else? So we got 2 Mortal Kombat 2s plus 2 Mortal Kombats.
It's again, Ed Boon is the only developer I know who would take a mistaken fan perceived notion and somehow turn it into an actual canon aspect of the story.
The absolute madman.
These things have been going on still to this day, like for example with Scarlet, which is a talk for another time, but essentially it's another one of these cases.
Yeah. Alright, so now we have to once again fight Shang Tsung, who of course was given new youth by Shao Kahn. He still has mostly the same moves like the fireball from the first game, and once again Shao Kahn is just standing there with his rod watching it all. And once again he can transform into any of the fighters from the game except boss characters. Well, which is interesting. Which is interesting because in the first game, as we saw actually in my playthrough, Shang Tsung could turn into Goro. However, starting with this game, probably because in this game he's actually supposed to be playable, they took away his ability to turn into boss characters. Probably because that would make him too broken. Yeah.
Alas.
Funny enough, the most broken character in this game is Kitana. If you exploit her, Impeccable is like her down move because of their basically wing-bladed fans. She basically has a huge hitbox that can create an infinite combo.
Basically. Another thing that really drives the AI into absolute madness is the fact. Okay, for example, you have you press low punch to use a low punch. However, if you press low punch when you're right next to a character, you'll do a throw. Here's the thing. Obviously, you have to have a certain amount of close, and unfortunately, the AI being the AI knows exactly the exact pixel distance required to turn a low punch into a throw. Therefore, it becomes very easy for the AI to avoid my uppercut by doing a throw. It's hard to explain, but you'll trust me. If you play the game, you know exactly what I mean. Again, it's one of those cases where, again, the audience, the player knows how to do that, but of course, the player does not. At the very least, people who don't study the game to absolutely ridiculous levels will not have like the exact pixel distance in their mind and be able to exploit that kind of thing. The AI does perfectly, of course. Again, it just boils down to the fact that this AI was custom made to draw as much money from you as possible,
while pissing you off. Pretty much.
Oh no, Steel, they probably loved it back in the day.
Oh no, they did. Gotta be honest, Joe, if there's one thing that I wish I had more in my childhood would have been actually, pouring quarters in arcade machine with my friends.
Alright, so in the first game we had Goro, but Goro was killed by Liu Kang. So
we have Kintaro,
a Shokan.
He's a cute kitty.
The show
4 arms. To rip your limbs.
just like Goro, he's a Shokan, and that as you can see, the Shokan is this race of people with 4 arms. We'll get back to this in Mortal Kombat Trilogy after this.
Looks like he's made from a clay model.
Yeah, just like with Goro in the first game, he's instead a stop-motion clay model.
Instead of being a natural actor, because as far as I'm aware, there are no actors with 4 arms.
It is pretty cool how more seamless. It is more seamless. You'd think that just because it's on in a completely different level, it will stick out a lot. And yeah, you can still definitely see that it's not an actual actor, but it's much more, elegant. How seamless it is.
When designing him, John Tobias actually gave the backside of his body to be like a tiger's for some reason.
But again, even the face, this thing has actually more cat-like feature, while Goro is more human, but part dragon as well. It's complicated.
Is he part of the same species as Goro?
Yeah, Shokan.
Yes.
I mean Kintaro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They're both Shokan. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
If they have 4 arms, they're a Shokan. That's all you need to know.
What's the name of that one girl?
Shiva from the first game.
With 2 E's and not 1 I.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Final Fantasy Shiva.
Again, the name is different as well.
There you go. Yeah, Kintaro is a bitch, as you just saw.
It was
but not as much beach. Not as much of a beach as the next one, but
yeah, true. But the boss characters being boss characters, they deal a lot of damage combined with the bullcrap AI. Yeah, beating these things require an incredible amount of skill and patience, and it really. But at the same time, it really
rules me out.
Well, it also boils down to here's the thing: you played Mortal Kombat. A Mortal Kombat 3, which I will argue is the one that actually had the best balance when it comes to its AI.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem, Pedro. The version I played is horribly has horribly balked AI.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I don't know.
Which version did you play?
Advanced Java, we commented on it.
Oh wow!
Well, to be
Yeah,
fair-
that's
well, to be
Mortal
fair-
Kombat Advanced.
It's weird though, because I can tell you for a fact that since I tried it, the Tekken Advance in comparison is a great port of the games. So I don't know what happened.
It's so
with that.
weird.
Yeah, every time you win 7 wins in a row, you can write your name. But there you go.
And here's Shao Kahn.
Alright,
Here
so.
we go.
Alright,
Oh,
everyone.
here's also the thing about Shao Kahn. It
Battle
taunts
of the
you
Ages,
all the
Shao
goddamn
Kahn.
time.
Yeah, and
Shao
I love him
Kahn
for it.
versus Head.
Do something minimally wrong, he will bash your shit to the ground and tell that you suck.
Basically, yeah. Notice the detail. Now he's out of his throne. So yeah, they did go out of their way to make a second version of this background to fit the situation.
I mean, at least it shows that they care about attention.
Not just that, we also combine that.
That's one thing I actually love.
If you
Get
pay
to hook him
attention,
while he's bragging and give him a taste of his own medicine.
if you have a keen hearing, every time he lands a very successful hit upon you, the crowd in the background cheers. So there's that too.
Because the Emperor.
Well, Shao Kahn has the home advantage too.
Yeah, pretty much. But not just that. Combine that with the cheap AI that Pedro was mentioning, a lot, not always, but a lot of time, when he's taunting you, if you try to hit him there, he will counter immediately.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because fuck you.
Wait a minute. Is this the final boss?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're still there's still more to this.
Well, Deji, there's other stuff to see aside from
The
just the.
fatalities, for example.
Not to mention other ports that this game had, but yeah, like Theo was trying to say earlier, the ports of this. Fortunately, this is actually one of those cases where, unlike with the first game, the Super Nintendo port was a superior one. John Tobias himself even said that the SNES version of Mortal Kombat 2 is one of the best arcade-to-home ports he's seen up until that point.
Apparently, TV Tropes listed the. Oh, I'll mention later.
He survived later on.
You know, there's
And
one
the
person that-
exploding stone.
Liu Kang wins.
Yay.
Shao Kahn's
There's
rule is
one.
over. Once again, you are the supreme Mortal Kombat warrior!
Shao Kahn with ease.
Emerald Batmok or Meowk. Ha ha ha. Little. With his Shaolin Temple in ruins, Liu Kang journeys into the Outworld, enters Shao Kahn's tournament, and unleashes a fury that does not end until the defeat of Shao Kahn. Liu Kang then returns to the seclusion of his Shaolin Temple. He pays his respects to his lost brothers and finally realizes that the events which have taken place were all fulfillment of his destiny.
Including the murder of everyone he held, loved, and near and dear to him.
Oh, Java, that's just the beginning of how Liu Kang's miserable
So the
life
cast of characters.
is.
Ho Sung Pak once again plays Liu Kang, and Richard DeVizio plays Baraka. Carlos Pacino returns as Raiden, as in Johnny Cage as well. So there you go. Catalin Zamyar as Katana, and Anthony Marquez as Kung Lao.
Lao.
Philip On MD as Shang Tsung, and John Parrish as Jax. There you go. Catalin Zamyar as
again.
well, makes sense considering it's basically Daniel Pazina as Sub-Zero and Daniel Pazina as Reptile. Oh, Daniel Pazina basically they're all the ninjas.
The ninjas makes sense.
Yeah.
Alright, and that was it. Welcome to the design team. Design is altered by Ed Boon and design and graphics by John Tobias, and of course sounds and music by Dan Ford. And so basically it was made by basically the exact same team that made the first game. Unlike this game, not the first game that was a quick project that was more on the cheap side. Mortal Kombat 2 was given a much bigger budget, and that's why it allowed for more fighters, more zones, more content in general.
Yeah.
So
it's a classic step up for a franchise that is made for greatness. The first game is more the the experimental.
the
phase,
internet
but
guys. Special thanks to the internet
What
guys.
is this internet you speak of?
In 1993.
And yeah, we also get.
Yeah, even when he was young, Ed Boon had massive eyebrows.
Yep. Also, play Revolution X by Midway, coming
I
soon.
have no idea what that is. Sorry.
Game over?
With a free hint.
I wonder.
with a skeleton.
Alright.
What about that skeleton there represents?
The player base tired of pouring quarters.
Alright, so here's the hidden fight against another character. Smoke. Smoke is basically a clone of Scorpion. He has the exact same moves. The only major difference is that he's, gray, as you can see, and his body smokes for reasons that I don't really understand.
Oh, so is he like
His
that
ninja
one?
arts involve smoke. Basically, the user just smoke. That's basically
Isn't
it.
there a One Piece character that smokes a lot?
Yeah, remember, Dweebs, it's one of the admirals of the Marines, and he has
Isn't
a
his
special
name
staff
Smoker?
with the mineral tip that is perfect to fight against devil food bearers.
Who is Smoke, you may ask? Well, his proper backstory and overall allegiances will be revealed in the next game.
Yep, because like Pedro said, this is also where the things step up, which is, it's interesting. This is where things get set. It's similar to Street Fighter in a kind of way. This is the game where the lore properly sets in, but starting with 3 things get ramped up, and they never stop from there, by the way. So it's interesting to see the lore behind these different factions growing in an exponential way.
That's why with Armageddon they decided to reboot the series by just killing everybody at the end and just start from fresh.
They did it for the better, but there's a bit of sadness in knowing that we're never gonna get probably a Mortal Kombat game of the same scope of Armageddon by having literally everyone that was playable at that point.
I heard Armageddon was considered a bad game.
Well, it depends on who you ask. The critics think it's bad. Mortal Kombat fans, on the other hand, really like it. So
that's the thing.
I hear mixed things from.
Yeah, it's
okay.
mixed. I personally am okay with it, mostly for the fan service factor. But there are better MK games out there.
Ed Boon is
people
one of
really don't like the. From my understanding, people don't like the Deadly Alliance trilogy that much.
You mean
the PS2 trilogy?
You mean the PS2 trilogy? Well, I actually really like it, but again, and the fans in general tend to like it. That's the thing, Deji. Ed Boon himself, and even Ed Boon himself. Okay, incredible winning streak. A new warrior waits for you. Who could it be? Noob Saibot. You have to.
Hey kids, try to read that backward, though.
Yeah, try. Jova, would you please read this name backward?
Ed Boon.
Tobias Boon.
Tobias Boon.
Ha 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 ha. How cheeky you guys are.
How dare you?
But yeah.
You must face the god
that's
himself.
Basically, Ed Boon is one of those developers that he doesn't really care much what the professional critics think. As long as the fans are happy, he's happy. Basically.
Pretty much. There you go. Noob Saibot works pretty much like Scorpion as well, but as you can see, he's more of a shadow.
What a shock!
But what's his own deal? You'll have to wait for that as well.
What a shock! Ed Boon's self-insert operates like Scorpion. What a big surprise!
See, this is my ninja Sona. He's super strong. He does shadow powers, and he totally kicks everyone west. No, mom, it's not a phase, okay?
All right. So yeah, so those are the 3 hidden fighters of Mortal Kombat 2. Jade, Smoke, and Noob Saibot, which once again, all 3 of these characters will return in the 3rd game. They'll even be playable, and they'll have their own backstories that will even be expanded even later.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play as the developers.
Well, that's the thing, Dwebs. Well, that's the thing, Dwebs. Later on, Noob Saibot is going to become his own proper character with his own backstory and background and everything. So the whole Tobias Boon thing is just there to be cheeky. Just don't worry about that.
So, what's the story? I went midway across the. But then the midway collapsed and I ended up at.
Alright, so you have reached the outer limits of the tournament. Now you both must face a challenge from your past.
Oh.
Pong! Yeah, basically, in Mortal Kombat 2, and this applies to even the console versions as well, if you manage to win 250 matches in a row, you'll be able to play Pong with your friend. So this is me. So what you're seeing here is me and my brother playing Pong.
Yay! Welcome to our commentary Pong, by the way. We probably don't really need to do
consider this our Squirm Quickie of Pong inserted into Mortal Kombat 2. There you go.
For the price of one, folks.
It's like It's like when we did Space Invaders Invasion Day and we did the original Space Invaders at the end.
Oh man.
Pong is public domain, so everybody can just put it in their game.
And yes, every time you lose, you can hear Toasty. It's amazing.
Whereas Space Invaders is publicly, well, it's not public.
Square Enix.
By, yeah, Taito, but they themselves.
Well, like you said, in some, I forgot where specifically, but more recently, Sino Alice, which is a mobile game. Hold on.
So now let's check out a great fan hack, the Genesis version.
Because the base Genesis version sucks.
So here's a bio for Smoke. Dishonored by Sub-Zero's failure to assassinate the sorcerer Shang Tsung in the previous tournament, the Lin Kuei sends Smoke as a failsafe. Should Sub-Zero fail his mission, Smoke is to assassinate both Shang Tsung and Sub-Zero. The Lin Kuei do not tolerate failure. Here's Kintaro. After Goro's loss in the previous tournament, Shao Kahn appoints the tiger-striped Shokan as head of his Outworld forces. Out for revenge against Liu Kang, Kintaro will destroy all those who dare challenge the Emperor. He will prove that the Shokans are the strongest of all the Outworld warriors. Jade. One of the three of Shao Kahn's personal assassins, Jade is ordered by the Emperor to spy on Kitana during the tournament. Yep, that's basically what she does in 3 as well, so the fans figured they would put it here, why not? The Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn, is enraged when he learns of Outworld and loss in the 10th tournament. However, in his plans to invade Earthrealm, he sets into motion an event leading to his own Mortal Kombat tournament. All of Earth's warriors will be lured to Outworld, and there they shall meet their hand at the hands of Shao Kahn.
More like to his shoulder pads, but whatever.
So yeah, this fan hack is called Mortal Kombat 2 Complete, and it includes all the secret characters, and even with their own unique bios and endings. So basically, if you for some reason you don't really have the means of emulating the arcade version, you do have this awesome Genesis hack as a great alternative. The
Genesis version, if I recall correctly, also has a bit of like an Easter egg, where Raiden performs a special type of fatality.
The frugality. That's because Ferguson, aka the owner of Probe Software, who made the ports of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, he decided to tell the developers when they made this port to insert this thing as a nice little Easter egg. Why not? So yeah, let's check out Noob Saibot's ending.
There's only one person to defeat.
Realizing that Shao Kahn is the strongest of all the warriors, Noob Saibot emerges from the shadows and attacks the Emperor, defeating him. He then opens a portal and leaves Outworld.
Right.
His whereabouts afterwards are unknown. It is said that Noob Saibot returned to his own dimension, one that is rumored to contain more shadow warriors like him.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so amazing how people add all the...
A longtime friend of Kitana, Jade has great difficulty following the orders of the Emperor. She decides to come out of the shadows to confide with her friend, with Kitana revealing to her the real story behind Khan's rise to power. The reunited friends then take on Mileena and Shao Kahn, with the weakened Emperor quickly defeated. Now under the rule of Princess Kitana, Outworld flourishes once again. As for Smoke's ending, a longtime friend and ally of the younger Sub-Zero, Smoke disobeys his superiors and instead decides to assist Sub-Zero when the undead Scorpion makes his move. The two ninjas defeat the Spectre and then come face to face with both Shang Tsung and the Emperor of Outworld. Shao Kahn in a decisive battle then they defeat them and complete their mission, saving Earth in the process. Having defeated the Earthrealm warriors, Kintaro is informed by Shang Tsung that the Emperor will not be needing his services any longer, as he has chosen the Centaurians as his new personal bodyguard. We'll come back to this in the next game. Enraged by his betrayal, Kintaro attacks Shao Kahn. He defeats the Emperor and then appoints himself leader of all of Outworld. Goro's death was not in vain, as his first act as leader is to exterminate the entire Centaurian race. Alright, so let's check Shao Kahn's ending. And yeah, there is no alternate sprite for Shao Kahn, but whatever. Yeah, there you go. That's Shao Kahn's victory pose. He just tells the opponent to fuck off, basically.
Yeah.
So he's telling himself to fuck off.
Stop teasing yourself.
Okay, so now he's destroyed himself.
Yeah.
Shao Kahn
ruled his own.
Okay.
He's still there.
After a long battle, Khan finally emerges victorious. Having beaten the last of Earthrealm's warriors and the Thunder God Raiden, he now has full control over both realms. He orders his Shadow Priests to open a portal to Earthrealm. The resulting gateway slowly transforms both realms into one, as Kahn claims every soul as his own. And that's the end. And now back to the arcade original. Now we looked into some awesome fan work.
Endings.
Reptile has always loyally served as Shang Tsung's protector while maintaining a very low profile. In the first tournament, he discovered Tsung's plot to force the remaining members of his near-extinct race into slavery under Shao Kahn's rule. Reptile then devises a plan of his own. He enters the Outworld tournament, defeats Shao Kahn, and turns against Shang Tsung, ending his master's scheme. Now his race can live on in their own peaceful existence. So there you go. That's how Reptile actually looks like under the mask. Anyway, Jax finds Sonya held captive alongside their arch-enemy Kano. Her only chance of escape is by Jax entering Shao Kahn's contest. With fierce determination, he catches the Outworld warriors off guard and wins the tournament, bringing Shao Kahn's rule to a crashing halt.
Crashing halt?
During the chaos that follows, Jax and Sonya escape through the dimensional gate from which they entered. Kano once again eludes capture, but Jax and Sonya know they will cross paths with him in the future, maybe in the third game.
I love how Kano in the background looks like Christopher Eccleston.
Familiar with Shang Tsung's lies and Shao Kahn's brutality, Raiden accepts their challenge to compete in an Outworld tournament. He is well aware of their scheme to unbalance the Furies and invade the Earthrealm. Raiden vows to use all his might to end their treachery. Winning the tournament, Raiden destroys Shao Kahn and all his minions. He also destroys the dimensional gates which would have been their passageway to the Earthrealm. So there you go. No more weird, out-of-nowhere, evil Raiden ending. Okay. After disappearing from the set of his latest movie, Cage finally resurfaces. He uses all his knowledge and experience as a fighter to end the Outworld menace. Now heralded as a true hero, Cage receives the respect he rightfully deserves. It only took him 2 games, but there you go. He also gets his inspiration for the sequel to his blockbuster movie Mortal Kombat. MK2 is released and quickly becomes the greatest motion picture event of all time. Cage realizes that MK3 is inevitable.
I don't think so.
Through her years of working as an assassin, Kitana has learned many secrets, especially about her own past. She finds that Mileena is not her twin, but a grotesque clone created by Shang Tsung. She learns that her parents were former rulers of the Outworld, overthrown by Shao Kahn. Dun dun dun. Determined to take back what is rightfully hers, she must defeat Kahn herself. She does so by entering the tournament. She retakes her parents' castle and restores the Outworld back into a realm of nobility. So there you go.
Hopefully.
Upon learning of Sub-Zero's reappearance, Scorpion enters Shao Kahn's tournament. He witnesses Sub-Zero spare the life of an opponent and realizes that this is not the same Sub-Zero who murdered him so long ago. He lets the ninja live and goes on to defeat the Outworlders in their unholy contest. With the defeat of Shao Kahn, Scorpion discovers a new purpose for his existence. He becomes the guardian of the new Sub-Zero to atone for murdering his older brother and in preparation for a third tournament. So basically...
this Sub-Zero is the brother of the previous
we're about to address that in a moment. A former Shaolin monk alongside Liu Kang, Kung Lao also grieves the loss of their Shaolin brothers. He realizes that his ultimate fate lies within the dark realm of the Outworld. He defeats his Outworld opponents until he emerges as supreme champion. With his strength and spirit in complete alignment, and he finally avenges the death of his great ancestor. Although his greatest challenges lie ahead. Maybe.
Is that Goldberg?
Maybe.
Goldberg.
Shang Tsung not only turns against and defeats both Kintaro and Shao Kahn, he also takes over their rule of the Outworld. With Shao Kahn's armies at his command, he finally unbalances the Furies and weakens the dimensional gates between the Outworld and the Earthrealm. Along with his elite group of sorcerers, he uses his weakness to march a never-ending horde of demons into the Earth and doom its inhabitants to eternal darkness. Have a nice day!
As you can imagine, this is not canon.
Known for his unpredictable actions and wild fits of anger, Baraka goes on a rampage. After defeating the Earth Warriors, he attacks Shang Tsung, Kintaro, and finally Shao Kahn himself. Also, that picture.
A face that only a mother could love.
After defeating Shao Kahn, Baraka's race of mutants arise from the wastelands and rebel against what is left of Khan's army. They eventually win, and the Outworld becomes under the rule of King Baraka. So there you go. When Sub-Zero failed to return from the Shaolin tournament and rumor of Shang Tsung's survival reached the Lin Kuei clan, they immediately sent another assassin to complete the task. This new warrior is actually the younger brother of the original Sub-Zero.
Dun dun dun.
And he's called Sub-Zero as well, conveniently. He enters the Outworld contest and accomplishes his task. He learns of Scorpion's foul vendetta against his brother, but will never know why his life was spared. Perhaps a third tournament is in his future? Yeah.
Hint, hint, hint.
So there you go. Once thought to be Kitana's twin sister, Mileena is actually a grotesque clone created by Shang Tsung. With Shao Kahn suspicious of Kitana's motives, Mileena seizes the opportunity to attack Kahn and his minions. A lot of people betraying Kahn in these endings. Caught off. That's how she. There you go. That if you've seen her Mortal Kombat 11 trailer, that's how she always looked. She wins the tournament, and together with her secret companion Baraka, they rule the world as king and queen. So there you go.
That's because later games, and particularly, will confirm that she was created using Tarkatan DNA.
Also, Jade is defeating Reptile. A secret character
Fatality.
in green defeats another secret character in green.
But yeah, in this
I guess
game,
the defeat was in secret.
so yeah, in this
Oh,
game,
no.
everybody has two fatalities.
That's one way to give him the kiss of death.
So yeah. Once we have two fatalities per character in this game, unlike the first one. So here's Smoke's fatality.
Jade's fatality with the kiss of death. Wasn't that what Katana did in Mortal Kombat DC Universe?
Two.
I don't remember. I don't remember, honestly, that game is so forgettable. The only thing you that to remember, everyone remembers is the fact that Joker's fatality was censored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what planted the seeds for Mortal Kombat 9 and Injustice.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
So we have something bad to give us something good.
Well, it's like the AVGN once said in one of his videos, Deji. Sometimes you have to take a worse shit before you take a better shit.
Words to live by.
Fatality. Alright, Noob Saibot. Yeah, basically, Teo, what I'm showing you here is another fan hack, this time of the arcade version.
Because in the original game, if I recall correctly, the game kind of crashes if you perform a fatality against or with some of these characters.
Well, I don't think it even works even if you try in the original arcade version too. At least the final, more polished version. But regardless, there was a fan hack of the arcade version that adds all this stuff in, so I figured I would show this as well, just because why not? There you go. Alright, now let's get to the actual proper fatalities. So Liu Kang has, once again, the lame fatality from the first game. I don't know why they kept that, but whatever. There you go. This fatality, on the other hand, there you go. Wow, it turns into a dragon. We'll get back to this.
It would be a shame if the CGI was so shitty in the movie.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's on the people that would want to make food fight, what do you expect?
Liu Kang wins. There you go. One of these stage fatalities you can do.
Yeah, it's the pit, but in reverse because it's on the ceiling.
And now,
yeah, this is a thing. The friendship. This was a response of all the critiques about the ultra-violence.
This and
also
the verbality. By far the most lame finishing moves in Mortal Kombat. I never really got.
Yay!
That fatality is awesome. See Liu Kang now. That's how you do a fatality. Now that fatality is awesome.
The friendship thing is meant to disrespect your opponent.
You know,
it's like, yeah,
no, that is true. That is true, Dej. But I think what people talking about the verbalities are kind of like the worst. We as the characters just create like a baby version of themselves that does something cute. There's that. Oh.
Look at that! He pulled a rabbit out of the hat. But yeah, you know what? Kung Lao always gets the best fatalities.
Oh, I know. That's why he's my favorite character for this one. Like, not even joking. I love Raiden, but Kung Lao takes the fucking cake here.
Well, and as you can see, apparently Kung Lao was already born with his hat. So. There you go. His fatality from the first game. So yeah, some of the characters did retain their fatalities from the first game, actually. Wow, I wasn't aware that people had 3 heads. 2 of them inside.
This gets like It's like gets lampshaded in MK11, where it's revealed that these are actually outtakes that Johnny Cage is doing for the uppercut. That's pretty cute.
Mm-hmm. To my best fan.
To
My best
Okay.
fan Cage.
that
By
stupid
himself.
expression.
So his best fan is himself.
Yes.
Duh.
Alright, look at that. Johnny Cage was born with his glasses on already.
That, you know what? That actually explains a lot.
There we go. Classic reptile fatality eats your head.
I actually prefer the MK3 version of this fatality, where he eats piece by piece the entire body. Yeah, he
So
apparently.
what's your favorite? Just out of curiosity, what's your favorite Mortal Kombat game?
Mine is Trilogy, personally, just because it's the pinnacle of the classic series that I grew up with.
God, for me, mine may be either 9, 10, or 11.
By a reptile
By a
doll.
reptile doll. Shameless plug.
Friendship.
Yeah, these bibalities, like, we brought back the bibalities later on, later games. NK9 perfected them by having the babies actually do actually something tied to the characters, so they're a bit better there.
Mm-hmm. And here's just, the character is now a baby.
There's that. It's dressed like the character.
There you go. Sub-Zero always has the more gruesome the fatalities.
Yeah.
Figures.
I guess the Zero and Sub-Zero.
Buy a Sub-Zero doll.
Except for this bit.
Friendship.
This is a bit lame. We could have done something like creating an ice cream or something.
Sub-Zero.
There you go.
Babality.
Born with a mask on.
There you go. Shang Tsung goes inside his opponent and boom.
Close him up.
It's the fatal severe.
Your soul is mine.
Deja vu.
It's especially even better considering we brought back the actual actor.
There you go. Here's another one. He turns into Kintaro and punches the
him.
fuck out of the opponent. There you go. Fatality. Stage fatality. There you go.
That seemed painful.
That's another thing. The pit in this game doesn't have the spikes. It just has the floor, and you get smashed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute disrespect.
How lovely.
Friendship. Wow, even
How's that for some extra youth?
Shang Tsung baby doesn't even have any particular unique characteristic. There you go, katana decapitation. There you go.
With her bladed fans. Pretty cool weapon.
Mm-hmm. And here's of course the kiss of death. There you go. Because remember, Jade is a reskin of katana.
Pop.
Jesus.
Ah. Oh, it's fall. Yeah, there you go.
Pops down.
Oh,
A cake?
a birthday cake.
Yeah, I don't get this either. Like, this doesn't have anything to do with katana. Oh my god, baby katana is ugly.
Now Jax, where he tears off his opponent's arms. Irony!
Yes, incredibly
I
ironic.
just say that the reboot hates Jax a lot. But yeah, one of our classic one is this one Jack where he just slaps the shit out of your head.
And splat.
There you go.
Fatality.
Fatality.
Okay, paper people, that's cool Jax, but why?
He worked really hard to make those two. Come on, you shouldn't.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
And in such quick succession, too.
Babality.
Okay, Babality. And now Katana. Sorry,
Melina.
sorry, Melina. Yeah.
Melina uses a pair of Sai, as you can see, like say Electra or Michelangelo, but her specialty is
Oh boy.
eating you.
Yep.
Oh.
Check the Mortal Kombat 11 Melina announcement video. It's amazing what they did with Melina in Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, how nice.
Flower.
It almost makes me forget that you're an incredibly grotesque abomination that wants to eat me.
Yes.
Melina's.
Oh,
Hush.
Babality.
Leggy, you're simping.
And another decapitation.
Oh, what? Tio?
Fatality.
There you go.
Slides. Perfect.
Brilliant.
Fatality.
Fatality. And of course, here's the stage one again. Yeah. Well, okay, so people criticized about the violence. Okay, let's ramp up the violence.
Perfect.
All given
But-
presents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, some of these friendships make no sense at all. Again, even these got better in their games. Oh no, baby Barack is terrible.
I smoke.
Smoke, what are you doing? Peeping the shit out of people.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
sometimes
rude.
sometimes in the forest level, smoke will what for you. For the record, even in the new continuity, he's still speaking at you from the forest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a running thing. Toasty. Yeah, there you go, Scorpion, of course.
Can you even imagine Jova Scorpion gets into Smash Bros. And Sakurai has to talk about the history of a franchise?
Well, yeah, that would be very, very interesting.
Awkward.
I wonder, Tio, maybe he'd do the same thing he did with Joker and replace the blood with
Why Scorpion?
stars.
Maybe.
Well, maybe. Well, of course, Nintendo will not allow the fatalities in, but maybe they'll just allow the
They
friendship
can make
in.
it work.
Pager. All they gotta do is just replace the blood with stars, and they'll probably be able to get.
Not
them
just
in
that.
some
Not just
situation.
that. Injustice made perfectly clear how. Oh, there's rating. Injustice games made showcased a good example on how Mortal Kombat characters can work without the fatalities. So there is that. Yeah, Raiden's fatalities in this game kind of suck.
He
So-
punches the guy so hard that he explodes.
There's also another reason
Oh,
why
yeah.
I prefer Kung Lao for this game. Raiden, we fucked up Raiden here.
Which is interesting because starting after this game, Raiden will not be playable until Deadly Alliance. Kid Thunder!
Kid Thunder!
A mini-me. He has his own mini-me.
It's adorable.
And there you go. And once again, of course, Raiden was born with his head already.
Because of course he was.
And there you go, another stage fatality. You can drop this.
The pool of acid.
And there you go.
Fatality.
And there you go.
Turned into a skeleton.
Well, he did.
But yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention that TV Tropes apparently listed.
I'll say that,
Apparently,
Pedro. It's a very interesting reaction to it. Most people will be like, the acid's melting my skin. But Johnny Cage is just like, ah.
the Genesis Mega Drive port was really bad without the Fanax. Apparently, as it says, the Game Boy version was the better one because when the roster was cutting out due to hardware limitation, the graphics and music are still really good, the controls are perfect, and the gameplay is actually faster than the original. How do you do that?
Well,
Who
that's
did
a
this? Go on with your final thoughts, guys. I will check in the meantime.
Even
with
if
the
that
Game
is
Boy
true,
version.
Teo, if you don't have access to the arcade version, I'm gonna have to agree with John Tobias. If you need to play a console version, play the Super Nintendo port. That's the
If I
best.
recall correctly, this also got the Genesis version got like an enhanced version of 32X. I think.
The only thing that the Mega Drive port has that's superior to the Super Nintendo port is its music music because once again the Mega Drive sound chip is perfect for that Forden style.
Okay, the Game Boy version was done also by Probe Entertainment. Probe Entertainment did almost all the console ports except the Super Nintendo, which was done by Sculptured Software.
Exactly.
Never heard of them.
Fortunately, the console ports of Mortal Kombat 3 and Ultimate 3 would be done by Midway themselves. So those would be the best console ports at that point in time. Go ahead, Dubs. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it looks like the same game as the first one, just enhanced. Fortunately, the AI does seem to look like a huge pain in the arse. Like, I mean, it's still not as bad as if you put it on normal in Mortal Kombat Advance, where it kicks your ass and not gives you a chance.
Well, actually, it's kind of the same thing that I said here, Dubs, actually, when you think about it.
At least this was made to have balked AI. The AI in Mortal Kombat 3, as you told me, is much improved, and yet that got balked in the advanced port.
Yeah, I guess you got me there. Go ahead.
So that's really about it. It improves with a lot of things, except one of those key components of a fighting game, and unfortunately, that does look like to tarnish the whole experience.
It kind of does, sadly. At least for me.
I hope the next game's better with it. Well, okay, the proper version of the next game. Well,
it depends, because there were 3 versions of Mortal Kombat 3. MK3, but then because of some backlash for not including Scorpion and other characters, they made an Ultimate version that already includes all those characters. But personally, I prefer playing Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PS1, made by Avalanche Software. Yes, that Avalanche Software that's making Hogwarts Legacy. Because that is basically Mortal Kombat 3's campaign, but with all characters up until that point.
For a second there, I honestly thought you were going to say I prefer Mortal Kombat Advance.
No, Trilogy.
I was going to be like, wait, what?
Not to mention it has some interesting new ideas like the aggressor mode mechanic, but go ahead.
But yeah, overall, it's okay.
Sure. Another thing that I don't care much for is that the Ultimate expansion removed the animalities from 3. And don't get me wrong, I understand that not a lot of people like the animalities, but I don't really see the point in removing content from what is supposed to be the definitive arcade version. But whatever. Deji, what do you think?
If it looks like a good game, hard as balls, but that's to be expected with this franchise. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Now,
I don't want to drag this thing out long.
Sure. Jova.
It's a very good game for the most part here and there. I can definitely see why it's considered a classic. It introduced a lot of concepts like, the friendships, the babalities, which would be perfected in other stuff, but did still make their debut here. And it really does show how Ed Boon is willing to, be rather crafty for a developer. Especially considering the CTO plant here, some of which he himself didn't even know he had planted until fans theorized about it. So, there you go. Also incorporating cut content into here, that's always a good move, so long as it's well and deserved here and there. Yeah, it seems like a compelling enough ride. Well done. Next.
All right, Teo.
I'll go next. Honestly, yeah, it's really good, but if you want to play single player, you have to pass through the AI. So basically, that's your reality check as it is. If you just want to, before the release of 3 onward, you wanted to stick with this, it was best if you actually grab a friend and start beating the shit out of each other. That's probably the better experience that you can get out of it. Similar to Street Fighter 2.
When it comes to enjoying this game in today's time on an actual, at home, since you can't really throw it's an arcade game. Well, yeah, emulate the Super Nintendo version. Or the Genesis fan hack that I showed off here, because the console ports tone down the AI bullcrap. So those are the versions that, despite being technically inferior, are at the very least more enjoyable to play.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But no, honestly, it's really good. Like you said, the favorite character is Kung Lao. It has the better fatalities, and the better moveset, the odd job kind of hat. They did fucked up Raiden a bit, so I basically tried to migrate my main. But no, honestly, if the AI could be toned down, not even in a sense of have an on and off switch, like most boosters in modern games tend to have, like a slider type of scale. Modern Mortal Kombat games do actually have a slider of some kind, like very easy, normal, hard, very hard, and etc. Maybe you could try something similar to that, but as Pedro showcased with this, even on what the arcade AI considers very easy, it still kicks you in the balls. So there's that. To finish quickly what I was mentioning to Dweebs before, just to be very quick, essentially a mobile game done by Square Enix called Sino Alice at an event tied to Space Invaders, because same property, which essentially devolves into questioning the life of the universe and how people relate to video games. Yes, it can get very weird, but I'm basically done.
All
Next.
right. Again, like I said, I've already complained enough about the AI, so I'll move on. Now, like I said, yeah, it's still a very important game for the series in general, because a lot of the stuff that you saw in the games that followed up until this day was introduced in this game. So just for that, this for all intents and purposes, this is where Mortal Kombat, as you know it today, started. The first game was a
Street Fighter, pretty much.
This game makes the first game look like just a pitch demo that was presented to executives in comparison. This on the other hand feels like a much more complete game that was properly thought out from beginning to end. And it really shows, because a lot of the lore and the overall storyline that would go on for years would start here, and it was something that, not to mention all the teases and the fan theories and the fan service, would start here as well. So it is interesting it's a shame for the AI, but at the very least it is commendable what it does right. And that's about it, really. I mean, I think I've already covered everything basically over the course of it. Tune in next time, everybody, where we're going to, instead of doing the arcade version, we're going to take a look at what would happen if Mortal Kombat 3 you could play as every single character that has ever been in the game, Mortal Kombat game, up until 1995. What would happen then? All right,
Kombat Ultimate.
See you, everybody.
See ya.